This is Arsenal Strength Pendulum Squat Equipment Review.
The pendulum squat is actually a movement that's been around for a pretty long time, but unfortunately it's a pretty rare piece of equipment to come across these days in gyms. With great brands like Arsenal Strength doing their version of this machine, you're starting to see them show up more and more in some of the best facilities in the world. Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym in New York has one, Dragon's Lair in Las Vegas has got one, we've got one, and there's a reason top athletes in the world like Steve Kuklo, Flex Lewis, and even some of your favorite actors like The Rock like to use Arsenal Strength and specifically the pendulum squat in their training. All right, the pendulum squat is a great squat variation. Just like any squat, it's really gonna target the lower body. On here, specifically the quads, to a lesser degree, the glutes, adductors, and hamstrings. One of the really cool things about this movement compared to a barbell squats can be very limited depending on your body type, specifically your femur length. Just about anybody can get a full range of motion squat on the pendulum squat because of the way that it's set up. No matter how flexible your ankles are, you're still gonna be able to get into a low squat position and without putting too much pressure on your back or on your knees. So this can be a great addition to the squat movements you're already doing, or if you have trouble barbell squatting, for instance, or doing a hack squat, this can be a great replacement for that. So it's added variation. It's different in the squat or a hack squat in the way that the way this arm is designed, it's actually gonna get heavier as you come up from the bottom, whereas in any other squatting motion, it's gonna get lighter on the way up. So it actually matches your strength curve better. If that's mumbo jumbo and that's too detailed for you, don't worry, you're not alone. At the end of the day, it's gonna help you build a really great muscular and strong lower body. All right, first things first, it looks badass. This thing is huge. It's the size of a truck, right? All the Arsenal Strength stuff is built out of heavy steel. We love the way that it looks. If you're a gym owner considering buying one of these, you do need to think about the footprint. It's a large machine. However, it's long, but it's not very wide. You can easily put this against a wall in your facility, and it really doesn't take up as much space as you might think given the size of the thing. Another one of our favorite features is this foot plate. So depending where you put your feet on the plate, it's going to determine specifically what part of the lower body you're working. The good thing about the Arsenal version, the foot plate is huge. You can go very low, very high, and any width with your foot placement. And then most importantly, and this again, not to get too much into biomechanics, it's got an adjustable foot plate. So you've got up to 4 variations of how high you can put that foot plate. And what that's gonna do is even if you have the worst ankle mobility you've ever seen, you can drop that thing down and still hit full depth in your squat. All right, now let's talk about being comfortable while being uncomfortable. Even though you're uncomfortable with the amount of work, there are some creature comforts in this machine. This padding is dense. No matter how much weight you have on this thing, you're not gonna feel the frame on your shoulders. The padding is great, it's meant for heavy weight. These handles are in the perfect position. You're gonna hold here, allows you to stay tight, gives your hands somewhere to be. And it's great for members of all heights. You've got 2 different height placements where you can rack the weight. So if you're shorter in stature, you'll be able to rack it low. If you're average height or taller, you've got this top one where you can easily rack it in the middle of a set if you're reaching failure. Like all Arsenal Strength equipment, there's plenty of room for weight. The crazy thing about this machine, this weight is so far from the axle of the machine that every weight you put here adds a lot of weight. It's got a ton of storage, again, for trainers or gym owners. Storage on machines is always nice. There's plenty of room to keep plates. And lastly, we've nicknamed this thing the Tombstone. This thing is nearly 160 pounds of counterbalance, but it really makes for a smooth squat all the way through.
First things first, be very wary with your head around this piece of kit. You've got a massive counterweight here and it's got some rather kind of dangerous edges to it, so always be careful around sort of leg kit in general. When you're bending over and coming back up, just always be wary. Do not want to hit your head on this piece of kit. When it comes to setting up the machine itself, you will notice that there's an adjustable foot pad. So obviously when you come to adjust it, you are by this counterweight. be careful. Literally just a case of adjusting this pin here. So when you come to load the kit, it's dead simple. There's just 2 loading pins at the back. Pop your weights on there. It doesn't matter if you just load one of the pins. So yeah, nice and easy when it comes to loading as well. So when you're coming in, it's dead simple setup. Once you're in with your feet, you've got your little handles here for bracing, and then you've also got your your spotter here. So you extend your legs, you'll be able to push that out. Obviously, if you're a bit shorter, you might have it here. That's fine. And then you're away. As you can see, I can get super low because the foot pad's so high. When you're done, obviously you just pop the hook back in and you're sorted. This really is a fantastic piece of kit if you want to hit your legs but also support your lower back at the same time. It's very similar to a leverage squat, except you've got that back support. So if you do struggle with your lower back strength and kind of stability, it's a fantastic piece of kit for just isolating your legs.
Brought to you by Arsenal Strength. Now, the Pendulum squat is very user-friendly. It seems relatively large, but it's easy to operate. And Luke is going to demonstrate for us. He's going to slide himself in. You'll notice that there's 2 hooks, top and bottom, based on your height. This way, if you're taller, easier to lock up, and if you're shorter, come to the lower pin. So the first thing that you want to do is place yourself in shoulder width apart. You're going to press through your legs, unlatch, and Lucas, walk your feet up and go to a nice standard wide squat. Standard pressing motion. Your hips are going to tuck underneath of your heels, all the way down. You'll drive through your hips, right to the top. You'll also notice that the legs never lock themselves out. So the hips go down, drive all the way to the top, and squeeze. Now, an alternative to that is, Lucas, if you don't mind, bring your feet closer together. Let's focus more on the quads. You bring your feet much closer together. Still be very careful. Hips are going to go underneath your heels once more, and you'll drive more through the quadricep. That's it. One more. Once again, very user-friendly, and when you're done, simply pull the handle, latch it in place, you're good to go. Now, there's one last thing that you need to understand about the pendulum squat is that there is an attachment back here that allows us to adjust the plate side. So what ends up happening, by pulling this pin, you can bring the platform down further or up higher. Now, the reason for this is based on the height. If you're a taller individual, you're going to want to bring this down much further, allowing you to have that range that you're looking for. But if you're new to it, or let's just say 5 foot to 5'4", you're going to want to bring this up just a little bit higher, allowing you to get the depth that you're looking for. You'll also notice we have a large counterweight, meaning that this machine actually starts off at about 110 pounds from Arsenal.
Arsenal Pendulum squat machine. Just got it here, 10 years with Eric. And we know this machine is always about bringing in new equipment. This equipment here will allow you to functionally take the weight off your spine to protect your back, and also allow you to recruit more motor units in the quadriceps. So take a look, here it is. Get into the machine, set your shoulders, come up with the handle, and set your feet, and you're squatting down, squat, pressing off your feet, off the quadriceps. Again, developing your strength. You're here, sit down, press off the quad. There you have it, the brand new pendulum machine.